February 11th, 1990. Dear Diary, I have never really thought about marriage, but if I do, I hope to have a wonderful husband.
With every turn another memory and dusty words bring pictures to my mind. I see the marks of the passage of time, patches of living stitched with a common thread. My life's
Hello and welcome to Journaling Through the Years, episode 40. It's been a little bit since I did this. I was sick on Monday and I'm still getting over it, so it's a couple days since I usually record and put it out. By the way, I'm Leah and we're still reading through this lovely journal from when I was in about 5th grade. We've been writing a lot about night court, or reading a lot about night court. So let's see what's going to happen going forward, if that's going to continue. I haven't really read a lot forward. I'm still a little sick. I'm wearing my one of my 90210 shirts. Classic, and I cut it so it's a midriff because it's 90210. January 20th, 1990. Dear Diary, you know, writing in your diary can be really fun. You can either write about your life, problems, boyfriends, like I had any, or last but not least, trips. Henry Reed chose to write in a journal because he thought that diaries were too girlish. Henry Reed is a book I was reading. I'm trying to get that. There, I got that piece of hair back. Today I went over to my friend C's house. C is an outgoing, dark-haired, 10-year-old girl who asked me over to have tea because she got a doll from Pleasant Company. There's 3 dolls that are named Kristen, Samantha, and Molly. Kristen was from 1854. Samantha from 1904, and Molly from 1944. C got Samantha, who has dark hair just like her. I have Molly, who wears glasses like me. C and I finished in the morning, and then that's where it ends. My friend, I still know her, the girl that grew up down the street from my house, and we still talk about those dolls. I think she still has hers in like perfect order, and my Molly doll is one of my goals for when I pay off a lot of my debt. One of the goals down the line is to fix Molly and to get her all nice and shiny and new, and some other dolls too. So, but see, her doll is perfect, and we still talk about it. And there's this podcast now that these girls, they're a little bit younger than me, but they are reading through the American Girl books and discussing it, and they're American Girl fans, and it's amazing. I haven't listened to it in a while, but I'll post a link in the description below for that podcast because it's delight. And the girls are they have their doctorate in history, and they just have all this information and knowledge, and super smart and super funny. And roundabout, they're friends with a friend of mine from college. It's just a small world. And I have now purchased for the majority of my nieces and small children in my life American Girl dolls. However, I didn't do the big ones because those are expensive. I did the mini dolls, which I think are supposed to be like your doll can have a doll of itself. Can you imagine if you like had a doll that looked like you and somebody gave you a mini doll? I mean, I kind of look like Molly when I got Molly. I had glasses and braids and bangs and everything. But, yeah, that's just a weird thing. Like, your doll gets a doll that looks like her. But anyways, those are a lot less expensive, and I wanted my nieces to have, like, these American Girl dolls, you know? I wanted And so I bought the younger ones versions of that. So I'm getting a lot of messages. I'm in the process of starting pre-production and on a short film trilogy, and so I'm getting distracted because I have a Facebook group with my producers and the writer and the director. They're co-producing it with me, and so we're just now talking about fundraising and trying to come up with ideas for the crowdfunding. So stay tuned for that. I'll put the link to the Facebook page in the description below, so you can go like it and then hear about more information. And when we do get the crowdfunder up, I'll make sure it's in the description below as well. I was wearing all day today because I had a sore throat for the last couple days, my Doctor Who scarf, so I should be wearing that because we are this weekend releasing episode 3 of Mindsick from our Doctor Who fan fiction web series, so that's cool. And it's going well. And I am working on Timesick episode 4, which is the other one. What are we talking about? See, I'm all over the place. This is me sick. We'll read 2 more and see what happens. It's like 6:30. It's almost 7 o'clock here, and I'm drinking iced coffee in my clear mug. And my hair looks just divine, even though I haven't really done anything the last couple days. I will finally be able to go do something and be alive tomorrow. Okay. She's giving me lots of, if you hear that beep, 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 my co-producer / director is like, ideas are coming, and she's giving lots of crazy ideas, and I can't respond, so I'm gonna have to respond when I'm done here. Anyways, February 11th, 1990, Dear Diary. I have never really thought about marriage, but if I do, I hope to have a wonderful husband. I had a husband. He was not wonderful. Parts of him were. There were some good memories, but overall, he was not what I deserved. I deserved better. I don't know what his name would be, but not Smith. That's just random. What? Not Smith? Maybe Harry Anderson Jr. or something, and he would star on Night Court and we would be rich, like Night Court the sequel. But I think of Harry Anderson as like a father figure, and I want to marry his junior, his son. Like, that's like kind of some weird kind of incest. We would have a beautiful house with a lake and one summer house. Why would we need a summer house when we have a lake? Is the lake ours, or does it belong to a lot of people? We would have children swimming in the lake. They would just swim all the time. But in parentheses, I put in the summer. In the winter, they would have hot chocolate and tell ghost stories. Here's your hot chocolate, kid. Here's your hot chocolate, kid. Drink up. Now, my original last name was Anderson, so what if I married this mythical Harry Anderson Jr. and I hyphenated my last name, like originally what it was, and it was like Anderson. We're the Andersons. Okay, and they would have to drink hot chocolate in the wintertime and tell ghost stories. We don't want to. Harry and I, this is just so weird that I said Harry, because I did not have any sexual desire, any feelings for Harry. I mean, Freud would say that your father is your first love, or some crazy thing like that. Oedipus Complex, all that. But no, I mean, I don't think this is the junior of Harry Anderson. I don't. Harry and I would be too busy with special movies, commercials, and sitcoms that we wouldn't have time for the children. What kind of parent am I? I'm like writing about this. I'm just like, ow, I'm gonna have kids and a summer house and all this stuff, and nope, somebody else is gonna take care of them. As people would say I didn't have time, but we would try to be there as much as we can. Oh, okay. I might own my own talk show and call it my enterprise or something. My own talk show. Or maybe I'd marry Fred Savage. Or marry Jerry Superan? Jerry Superan? I don't know whom that is. Whomever I marry, I hope I'm happy. Well, you weren't. I mean, okay. So I met this guy when I was in my 20s, right after I graduated college at a cafe, among other people. And then I went to California, and I went to grad school, and then I graduated grad school, and then I lost my mind because of undiagnosed bipolar that hadn't been dealt with, and PTSD, and I was never meant to be a teacher, and it was too much, the stress, and I was like yelling at the kids, and I was just overwhelmed and having a breakdown, and I shouldn't have taught, and I lost my job. And then I was just like there trying to get healthy and really not knowing what I was doing with my life and not knowing what it meant. And people would say, take good care of yourself. And I had never been raised to really take care of myself or anything like that. So, and then at the same time, I'm going to a church that says you're supposed to love other people before yourself. You know, Jesus, others, yourself, put yourself last. And so I'm like, I was raised not to really, if I was sick, you just continue working, right? You don't like stop even if you're sick. And then I'm going to this church that is saying put yourself last. And yet the most important thing at the time was get healthy, take care of yourself. So I didn't know how to do that. And there's no handbook, especially back then. It was in the 2000s. You would think that's a recent time. But there's still a lot of stigma with mental illness. I couldn't talk about it. And publicly as much without, you know, something's going to happen. You're going to lose your job, blah, 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 blah. And also, people I was around, it was like not kosher to talk about that. But yeah, it was not... It was not as, I mean, you think that's only like 10 something years ago, 10, 15, 16 years ago that I was first diagnosed. No, more than that now. Whatever, 20 something. I don't care. The point is, and yet it was the 2000s. There was still, like, when I first got diagnosed, it was before the semicolon movement, which was the idea that you take a pause. You can, you know, people are getting the tattoos of the semicolon and taking a pause out and taking a break. And during this time, Britney Spears was having her breakdown, and everybody was like, you know, tabloid fodder, and she's crazy, and blah, blah, blah. And then, you know, a few years later, celebrities are having their breakdowns and or having mental health breaks, and everybody's like, oh, go take care of yourself. And it's not in the, you know, nothing happens because of that. And it's like, Britney Spears should say, oh, you're welcome, by the way. But, so that's what I was living through and trying to figure out and there was no handbook and there was not a lot of support necessarily in society as there is today. I guess I sort of had to forge that path so others could come after me and have the support and the handbook or whatever. I don't know. And to know how to take care of yourself, to parent yourself. I only just in the last couple of years have learned to parent myself, to take care of myself, what it means to be an adult. What was I saying? Okay, so I still had this fantasy of this person I met at this cafe, and when he came back to my life, it was like whirlwind, and this is it, we're meant to be together. And he hadn't worked or done anything. We got together, we got married quickly into the marriage. He started derailing into some crazy conspiracy theories and depression, and then it became very, like, yelling at me and throwing things. And this little girl wanted her happily ever after. Well, the happily ever after came after I divorced him. Divorce happily ever after, as it were. And I needed to go through that. I needed to discover that I needed to find that true love within myself and not within another person. Whether it be Harry Anderson Jr. or Fred Savage or Jerry Superan, whoever the hell that is. P.S. I am thinking of writing a book like The Money Pit. The Money Pit. That was like the funniest movie when I laughed so hard. Tom Hanks and Shelley Long, and they were getting married, and they got married, and then they bought this house, and it was like a piece of crap. Like, they had to do all this work on it, and it was just, and they did all the work, but meanwhile it just like drove them crazy, and they like were fighting all the time and decided to get a divorce. But then at the end they're like, no, I love you. It's funny. I just remember laughing at it with my friend. I don't know what this book I'm writing called about the Money Pit. I'm thinking of writing a book like the Money Pit. I wish I knew. I also wish I knew, if you go back, it says, C and I finished in the morning, and I wonder what we did after that. We shall never know. Okay, last one. Oh. 2/14/90. Dear Diary, I am crying. My life is terrible, and I feel terrible. I can't do my math, piano, schoolwork, or anything. I wish I was dead. I wish I was I wish I was sick, really sick. I would stay out of school till spring. My dad would fix the TV in my room and computer. But I still feel miserable. My life is like the death. Who can help me? Can anybody help me? Sincerely, P.S. I'm stressed. So that was 1990. I was about 11 years old. And I was going into puberty. And I had had emotional upheavals all my life. Like, just where I would just suddenly have like a breakdown and just like rage at someone or cry or whatever. But this is the first time that I was actually putting it into words on my own. And I definitely believe that this was the first moment where I started to feel depressed. I do remember driving, and I was going into puberty, so I was probably starting to kind of go through that change. And I definitely remember feeling really like, what's the point of everything? And I was driving with my mom, and she said something like, with that attitude, you're just going to end up pumping gas the rest of your life. And, what do you do with that as a little kid? And I do remember that I was seeing a therapist when I was younger than that, like in about 2nd or 3rd grade. And then I didn't see that therapist for some reason after that I remember. But that makes me, that's just hard to read. This little 11-year-old girl doesn't want to live and is miserable and doesn't want to leave the house and doesn't want to go anywhere and doesn't know what to do to get herself help. That's just interesting. I don't know where to go with that. And it seems really hard to end on something like that. But I think that I could go back. I want to say to my 11-year-old self that it does get better, that she will go through. You will go through so much heartbreak and suffering, and it's going to be so hard, and you're going to feel like the world is against you. Everyone in your life is against you, and you're going to feel unloved. But then you're going to get to 43, and you're going to look back and say, yeah, I was unloved, but I survived. And I did amazing things. Even in how hard everything I did, with all that I was carrying and all that weight and all that depression that was not being dealt with today. And all that, like, forcing myself to work when I was sick, both mentally and physically, and all of that, and not knowing how to take care of myself, how to, being an adult with trauma. I didn't know how to be an adult. I didn't know how to care for myself. I was just so delayed in so many ways. But I did so much. And so much. And I got myself through. And even if it was hard, even losing the teaching job, the ex-husband, all of it, is amazing things that I've done. Even way back to when I was in college and I was going to auditions and not getting them, I was still doing these things and believing somewhere in there and trying, even when I didn't believe in myself. And so I would say to that 11-year-old girl, just keep going, because it does get better, because eventually, and there are some wonderful things, and there are wonderful people along the way that will come into your life and will stay there. And even if distance separates you by miles and miles and countries and states and whatever, that love will remain, and that is what will sustain you and keep you going. Like the girl in this book that I had tea with the American Girl doll, who is still in my life, and like the girl who is editing my time sick video, not editing, she's adding the music for it. Those are just two examples of women, of friends of mine that I've known for years. And even though we've been separated for not most of our adult life, that love has sustained me and is something I can rely on. And it's pretty cool that no matter what I've been through in my life, I've had that love, and I've been able to sustain those friendships. So I would say to that 11-year-old girl, you're going to survive, and you're going to do great things. And that pain that you're holding, that's unbearable, will be the source of your greatest strength, because it will take you to some dark places, and you will do some dark things, and you will meet some dark people, but you will be able to use that pain and that suffering to make other people's lives lighter. So thank you very much. Have a good week.
Patches of living stitched with the common thread. My life's like a quilt that's been sewn together. I can't get away from love. If I went to the edge of the earth, you'd follow me. I can't get away from love. If I go up to the heavens, you're there. If I make my bed in the depths, you're there. I can't get away from love. Baby, I was going barefoot in the summertime. Baby, I was falling asleep to the sound of rain. Baby, I was listening to the quiet of early evening. Baby, I was sipping coffee with a couple of friends. Baby, I was eating ribs at the rendezvous in Memphis. Baby, I was on my knees whispering promises. I can't get away from love. If I went to the edge of the earth, you'd follow me. I can't get away from love. If I go up to the heavens, you're there. If I make my bed in the depths, you're there. I can't get away from love. When all the Kodak moments have faded and are all but lost in my head, moving past my stubborn spirit, I will remember you who carefully guide me here, guide me here. I have traveled a long and wearisome road, but it's been paved, no doubt, with mercy. And like the cracks in the walls and the cobwebs near the ceiling, I've collected companions through the years. And like an old coffee stain, these things stay with me. Your presence hangs over me like a canopy. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I can't get away from love. If I went to the edge of the earth, you'd follow me. I can't get away from love. If I go up to the heavens, you're there. If I make my bed in the depths, you're there. I can't get away from love. I can't get away from love.